There's a kingdom inside the Amazon where light barely touches the ground, yet evolution works with absolute precision. Here, silent hunters shape toxins unknown to the rest of the planet, weaving chemistry into power. Every scale is a record of time, every movement a calculation. To understand this hidden empire, we must enter the heart of the serpent's domain. Deep inside the Amazon basin, beneath a ceiling of leaves that filters sunlight into green shadows, lies a world built on pressure, humidity, and biological competition. This forest is not merely a biome, but a continental engine where life mutates, selects, and refines itself with relentless speed. The atmosphere is thick with moisture, allowing chemical reactions inside living bodies to occur differently than in dry environments. In this setting, serpents rise as sovereigns not through dominance, but through precision honed over millions of years. The Amazon is a crucible of evolution because its geography forces life to adapt in countless directions at once. Thousands of rivers split the land into isolated pockets, each pocket becoming a laboratory where species refine new strategies for survival. Flooded forests create seasonal worlds where prey disappears for months, forcing predators to diversify their methods. Dry plateaus of terra firma shape serpents that depend on camouflage and ambush. The dynamic canopy, alive with birds, primates, and insects, becomes an entirely separate universe where arboreal snakes evolve elongated bodies, sharper senses, and refined hunting strategies. The Amazon accelerates evolution for one simple reason. Nothing here stays the same. Rain cycles reshape the ground. Rivers swallow entire regions and then retreat. Patterns of prey shift from week to week. And in a place where food is sometimes abundant and sometimes scarce, serpents that adapt fastest survive longest. Their biology becomes a reflection of this constant negotiation with the environment. Venom becomes more complex when prey becomes faster. Sensory systems sharpen when shadows deepen. Camouflage evolves when predators or threats multiply. The Amazon is not peaceful. It is not static. It is a pulse of life, and serpents are the organisms most perfectly tuned to its rhythm. Their bodies tell the entire story. A snake's scales are not ornaments. They are aerodynamic shields designed to slide against moisture-heavy leaves and saturated soil without losing energy. Their musculature contracts with a precision born from the forest's need for efficiency. Where mammals waste heat, serpents conserve it. Where other predators chase, serpents calculate. Their power is not in speed alone, but in the mathematics of movement. In the Amazon, being fast is not enough. One must be invisible, silent, and perfectly timed. Venom evolves here not as brutality, but as a biological answer to a complex environment. Prey in the Amazon develops armor, speed, reflexes, toxins of its own. Only venoms capable of disrupting these defenses allow serpents to survive. Amazonian venoms are chemical symphonies that reflect the forest itself. Hemotoxins tear through complex circulatory systems because prey animals here sustain rapid bursts of movement in dense vegetation. Cytotoxins immobilize deeply because disappearing prey in a layered ecosystem means a predator cannot afford to lose even one meal. Even the structure of venom glands shifts with environmental pressure. In humid conditions, proteins stabilize differently, creating cocktails with dozens of active components. Some snakes produce venom so chemically rich that a single drop contains more biological strategies than entire species in other parts of the world. This diversity roots back to the Amazon structure. There is no single Amazon. Instead, there are realms layered upon realms. Flooded Varzea, where serpents glide between roots like shadows carried by water. Terra firma hills, where the soil remains dry enough for ground vipers to wait for days, sensing the vibrations of unseen footsteps. Igarapes, where narrow channels carry fish, frogs, and insects, and where aquatic snakes refine bodies that can remain perfectly still even in shifting currents. Tree canopies, where arboreal vipers develop sensory pits to read heat signatures against a background of swaying branches and broken light. Each realm shapes a different serpent, and each serpent becomes a ruler in its own ecological territory. Evolution does not grant crowns freely. It selects those who solve the forest's problems with the most elegant biological solutions. The Amazon serpents survive because they listen to the forest's rules. They master energy economy, moving only when necessary. They master stillness, becoming part of the terrain. They master chemistry, turning molecular precision into survival. Inside this vast living engine, serpents are not intruders. They are outcomes. Their existence is the forest expressing its complexity through muscle, scale, and venom. And as we step deeper into this kingdom, one truth becomes undeniable. The Amazon did not simply produce snakes. It sculpted them. It refined them. It crowned them as rulers of a realm where silence is power and precision is law. Understanding their reign requires more than observation. It demands entering the logic of a world where everything grows, hides, adapts, and evolves. A world where each serpent is both a survivor and a signature of the ancient forest that shaped it. The Amazon is often described as a forest, but that word is too small for what it truly is. It is a continent of its own, a mosaic of ecosystems woven together by water, humidity, and heat. Its rivers hold more volume than any other system on Earth, carving through the landscape with the authority of ancient architects. Each tributary becomes a dividing line, isolating species just enough to push evolution forward. Over millions of years, this constant separation and reconnection formed a biological labyrinth where countless lineages diverged into new forms. Serpents took advantage of this process more effectively than almost any other group. The Amazon soils, although nutrient-poor on the surface, support a dense vertical world where plant life competes intensely for sunlight. This competition builds layer upon layer of foliage, creating a cathedral-like structure of branches, vines, trunks, and shadows. For snakes, this verticality becomes opportunity. They do not rely on strength alone but on geometry, texture, and terrain. A serpent coiling around a branch is not climbing. It is calculating center of mass, friction points, and tension distribution. Every movement is an equation solved in real time. The forest amplifies such abilities. Its humidity ensures that scent molecules linger longer, enhancing chemical communication. Its leaf litter muffles sound, allowing ambush predators to remain undetected for hours. The constant rhythm of dripping water and rustling leaves mask subtle vibrations, forcing snakes to evolve more refined sensory tools. This dynamic environment becomes a pressure chamber where only the most adaptable organisms thrive. What makes the Amazon truly unique is the speed at which ecological niches multiply. A fallen tree does not just decay. It becomes a habitat for countless organisms, each influencing the species that hunt or hide within it. A seasonal flood does not merely inundate the forest. It transforms the entire biome into a three-dimensional aquatic maze. In this ever-changing world, snakes must be sculptors of precision. Their bodies reflect the architecture of the environment. Ground species become muscular and camouflaged, blending seamlessly into the leaf litter. Arboreal species elongate and refine their scales to grip smooth or wet surfaces. Semi-aquatic serpents thicken, optimizing buoyancy and propulsion through slow-moving water. These are not random adaptations. They are direct responses to a world where survival favors those who can occupy narrow ecological windows. This is why the Amazon contains more snake species than entire continents. Its microclimates create pockets of evolutionary freedom. Temperature gradients between shaded valleys and sunlit ridges allow different strategies to emerge. Variations in rainfall shape which venom types become dominant in certain regions. Areas with fast, agile prey push snakes toward hemotoxic blends capable of disrupting movement almost instantly. Areas with heavier or armored prey encourage cytotoxic compounds that break down tissue and immobilize struggling victims. The interplay of geology, water, and climate writes the rules of the serpent kingdom. Terra firme, with its dry ridges and stable forest floor, becomes the domain of serpents specializing in camouflage and ambush intuition. Varzea, flooded for half the year, forces snakes to adapt to buoyancy, pressure, and unpredictable prey availability. Igarapes carve narrow pathways where aquatic predators refine both stealth and patience. The canopy stands above all this as a separate empire where serpents must navigate light broken into fragments by shifting branches. Each level of the Amazon offers its own advantages, dangers, and opportunities. Together, they form the ancient stage, where serpents evolved into rulers not through brute force, but through biological intelligence. In this continent within a continent, nothing evolves in isolation. Every adaptation reflects an answer to a riddle written by the forest itself. And the serpents that solve these riddles best rise to the top of this silent hierarchy. To understand how the Amazon became the kingdom of serpents, we must examine how its structure accelerates natural selection. Unlike open habitats where climate and terrain remain relatively stable, the Amazon is defined by constant change. Water levels rise and fall, altering hunting grounds and reshaping competition among predators. Temperature shifts subtly across small distances, influencing metabolism, growth rates, and prey availability. Even the canopy behaves like a living ocean, swaying, bending, and shifting in response to wind, storms, and seasonal variation. This complexity forces every organism to specialize or disappear. Snakes, with their streamlined bodies and energy-efficient physiology, are perfectly suited for such a world. Their cold-blooded nature allows them to thrive on minimal resources compared to mammals or birds. This gives them an advantage in an ecosystem where prey density fluctuates without warning. They can wait for hours or days without wasting energy, blending seamlessly into the environment until the exact moment survival becomes possible. The Amazon does not reward constant motion. It rewards stillness fused with precision. Every serpent becomes a master of patience. But patience alone does not create dominance. The forest's architecture amplifies sensory strategies that snakes have refined for millions of years. Humidity enhances chemical trails, allowing snakes to build a three-dimensional map of scent molecules floating through the air. Soil vibrations travel differently in flooded ground compared to dry forest floors, pushing snakes to evolve acute sensitivity to faint tremors. Heat signatures shift under dense leaf cover, giving species with thermal pits an unparalleled advantage. This multisensory landscape gives serpents an evolutionary edge few predators can match. And then comes competition. The Amazon is packed with predators: jaguars, caimans, harpy eagles, ocelots, giant otters. Each occupies its own ecological role, but serpents compete with all of them indirectly. They share prey sources, territory, and environmental pressure. In such a crowded arena, snakes evolved unique strategies to avoid direct confrontation while still maintaining dominance over their niche. Camouflage becomes art, not necessity. Venom becomes a chemical toolset rather than a mere weapon. Musculature becomes optimized for silence, not speed. What emerges from this evolutionary pressure is a serpent kingdom unlike any other on Earth. Here, diversity is not a bonus, but a requirement. Ground vipers thrive in leaf litter that mirrors their patterns. Arboreal vipers melt into green branches, with scales that mimic broken light. Aquatic boas glide through blackwater streams, their bodies reflecting the slow pulse of submerged roots. Each adaptation is a mark of sovereignty, a biological signature that declares mastery over a specific micro-world. This is why the Amazon is considered a living evolutionary archive. Every square meter contains species shaped by millions of years of environmental negotiation. Snakes are not just participants in this negotiation. They are among its most successful negotiators. Their survival depends on reading the language of the forest more fluently than their competitors. They read changes in pressure, humidity, scent, and temperature as if reading sentences written by the ecosystem. The kingdom they rule is not symbolic, but functional. Their presence regulates prey populations. Their predation influences where rodents nest, where amphibians gather, and how nutrient cycles flow. They are architects of ecological balance, and yet their reign remains silent. They do not roar or chase, or display dominance. Their power lies in invisibility, precision, and the deep evolutionary intelligence encoded in their bodies. To explore this kingdom is to witness how life shaped by the Amazon becomes extraordinary. Every serpent represents a different solution to the same ancient challenge: survive in a world that never stops changing. And in solving this challenge, they earned their place as the unseen rulers of this biological empire. In the Amazon's silent hierarchy, a distinct lineage rises above all others as the supreme architects of chemical power. These are the vipers, the rulers of venom, the serpents whose bodies carry not only ancient instincts, but molecular precision refined by millions of years of evolution. Their presence defines the forest's hidden order. They regulate prey populations, maintain ecological balance, and embody the forest's ability to sculpt predators of unmatched design. Among them, one stands as the undisputed queen of the jungle floor, Bothrops atrox, the Amazonian lancehead. She is not the largest snake in the forest, nor the most visually striking, yet her reign is absolute. No serpent causes more human envenomations, not because she seeks confrontation, but because she exists everywhere the forest breathes. Her camouflage blends perfectly with leaf litter, bark, and shadows, turning her body into part of the landscape. Her venom is a masterpiece of complexity. Each component serves a distinct purpose, dismantling prey physiology with elegant precision. Hemotoxic enzymes rupture blood vessels, preventing escape.
Coagulants disrupt circulation, creating internal pressure that disorients and immobilizes victims. Cytotoxic elements begin breaking down tissue, ensuring efficient digestion even before the serpent feeds. Her strike is not violence, it is the execution of a chemical equation. Higher in the kingdom, another ruler claims the canopy. Bothrops bolineatus, the two-striped forest pit viper, moves through branches with the grace of a phantom. Her emerald body melts into vines and foliage, giving her dominion over the vertical world. Life in the canopy demands exquisite balance, sharper senses, and refined ambush strategies. Bolineatus possesses heat-sensing pits capable of detecting subtle thermal variations against sunlight fractured by thousands of leaves. In a place where prey such as birds and small mammals move unpredictably, this ability becomes a superpower. Her venom reflects her environment as well. It acts with rapid precision, necessary for arboreal hunting where prey lost to gravity becomes prey lost entirely. Her molecular arsenal disrupts muscle control and blood flow in seconds, ensuring she does not waste energy or risk falling from dangerous heights. She is the unseen guardian of the treetops, enforcing the canopy's delicate equilibrium. But no serpent in the Amazon commands more reverence than Lachesis muta, the bushmaster. She is the matriarch of venom, one of the world's largest vipers and a symbol of raw evolutionary authority. Unlike other vipers that rely on short ambushes, the bushmaster patrols territories with deliberate, confident movement. Her body can exceed 3 meters in length, yet she moves with a composure that reflects absolute dominance. Her venom is devastating. It contains a blend of hemotoxins and neurotoxins that destabilize the victim's system from multiple angles. Blood pressure drops, clotting factors malfunction, nerve signals falter. In the dense rainforest, where sunlight rarely reaches the ground and humidity fuels rapid decomposition, Lachesis muta's venom ensures her prey succumbs swiftly. Her strike is exceptionally powerful, driven by large fangs and muscular force. Yet she wastes nothing, embodying the evolutionary rule that precision is more important than aggression. These rulers coexist not through harmony, but through finely tuned ecological negotiation. Each species occupies a niche defined by geography, prey availability, and sensory advantage. Bothrops atrox dominates terra firma and lower forest strata, her patterns echoing the broken light of the ground. Bothrops bolineatus reigns where sunlight fractures into shifting emerald patterns. Lachesis muta patrols, secluded, humid territories where her massive frame and potent chemistry give her unmatched control. Their anatomies reflect their kingdoms. Atrox possesses thick muscles suited for rapid bursts of movement across uneven forest floors. Bolineatus carries elongated vertebrae that grant fluidity during arboreal navigation. Lachesis muta maintains robust lungs and cardiovascular strength to support her large size and far-reaching strikes. Even their scales tell stories. The matte texture of Atrox minimizes reflection, preserving camouflage. The iridescence of Bolineatus allows her to disappear in the play of canopy light. The rough, ancient-looking scales of the bushmaster reinforce her identity, a serpent shaped by deep evolutionary time. Camouflage is their greatest ally. Atrox becomes part of the forest floor's mosaic. Bolineatus passes unnoticed among branches. Lachesis muta blends with decaying leaves and soil. This invisibility is not merely aesthetic, it is strategic. Remaining unseen allows them to conserve energy, avoid competition, and execute deadly ambushes. Their strike mechanics embody the precision of their design. The vipered skull is a masterpiece of evolution. Hinged fangs swing forward with perfect synchronization, delivering venom through channels that resemble biological syringes. Their muscles coordinate the strike in fractions of a second, converting stored energy into pinpoint accuracy. In slow motion, every frame reveals a cascade of micro-adjustments in posture, angle, and force. These adjustments are subconscious, encoded through millions of years of predatory refinement. Such mastery elevates these serpents beyond mere predators. They are sovereigns in a kingdom where power is measured not in displays of aggression, but in the efficiency of biological solutions. Each species wears its crown differently, yet all serve the forest's balance. The Amazon's vipers do not seek dominion. Their dominance is the result of perfect fit between organism and environment. They reign because the forest itself shaped them into rulers. And as we observe their silent authority, we begin to understand the deeper truth of this realm. In the Amazon, venom is not cruelty, it is language. It is the forest speaking through chemistry, declaring who belongs, who survives, and who rules. In the Amazon's kingdom of shifting water and drifting light, power does not always come from venom. Some rulers rise through brute control of their environment, bending entire ecosystems around their presence. Among them, the Anaconda stands as the silent empress of the flooded world. The green Anaconda, Unex marinus, is more than a serpent. She is a moving reservoir of strength shaped by a realm in constant flux. Her domain is not the forest floor or the canopy, but the water itself, the dark mirror beneath the trees where life slows to a deeper rhythm. In this submerged world, she becomes weightless. Her massive body, which can surpass 200 kilograms, glides with minimal effort because water carries her like an extension of its own currents. Here, she is not heavy, not cumbersome, but exact. Every motion is a calculation of density, buoyancy, and force. Unlike the vipers, whose power is molecular, the Anaconda commands through physics. Her constriction is not a simple act of squeezing, but a precise collapse of circulatory pressure. When she coils around her prey, she does not crush bones. She prevents blood from reaching the brain. She stops the heart not by force, but by mathematics. The pressure she applies matches the prey's own internal pressure, creating a biological stalemate that only she can break. The victim loses consciousness in seconds because the body cannot sustain the equilibrium she imposes. This is not violence, it is mastery of mechanical law. The Amazon shapes her body for this purpose. Her muscles are arranged in dense, overlapping segments capable of distributing force evenly across her prey's body. Her vertebrae are reinforced to withstand immense torsion without injury. Her lungs are elongated to allow breathing while nearly fully submerged, one part of the lung extending toward the tail to maintain buoyancy during long waits. She is sculpted for ambush in a world where water distorts sound and light. Prey that moves silently across the surface creates ripples she can read with extraordinary sensitivity. Her eyes and nostrils rest atop her head, allowing her to remain almost entirely invisible beneath the waterline. Only a pair of floating orbs betrays her presence, and even then, only if the observer knows exactly what to look for. The flooded forest gives her absolute advantage. During rainy seasons, entire landscapes vanish under meters of water. Rodents climb into low vegetation. Birds descend to feed near the surface. Capybaras swim in family groups, unaware that the queen beneath them reads each vibration like a signature. For such prey, the Anaconda does not chase. She waits. Waiting is her greatest weapon. Her metabolism is efficient enough to allow her to go weeks or months between meals. She does not waste energy, and thus she never enters a conflict unprepared. When she strikes, it is a fluid explosion of motion, a burst of acceleration that defies her size. Water resistance becomes her ally. It guides the direction of force, channeling her coils with precision. The moment she wraps around her prey, the contest ends. She does not need venom because she controls the battlefield entirely. Her feeding behavior reflects the patience of the flooded world. She swallows her prey slowly, aligning bones and limbs with measured precision. The internal muscles of her esophagus work like a peristaltic wave, drawing the prey inward while her jaw ligaments stretch beyond what most vertebrates can imagine. Once she finishes a meal, she retreats to warm shallows or summit logs where digestion begins. The process is an engine running on both heat and biochemical efficiency. She absorbs nutrients with extraordinary completeness, leaving little waste because nothing in the Amazon can afford inefficiency. Even her reproductive cycle reflects the forest's pulse. Females grow larger than males because reproduction demands energy and protection. They carry their young internally until birth, allowing offspring to enter the world as fully formed swimmers capable of surviving on their own. The mother's size ensures she can defend herself while pregnant, and the water offers her refuge from potential threats. Her entire existence is a dialogue between body and environment, each influencing the other toward greater precision. In the Amazon's hierarchy, Venom may rule the land, but in the water, the Anaconda is absolute. She is the quiet sovereign of submerged realms, a ruler whose authority relies not on fear, but on the inevitability of natural law. In her world, nothing escapes the weight of her presence. Nothing ignores the subtle ripple that signals her approach, and nothing challenges her reign because the flooded forest built her to be perfect for this throne. The Amazon rewards the creatures that understand its physics, and no serpent embodies this understanding more completely than the Anaconda. Her rule is not confined to brute force. It extends to the subtleties of sensing, timing, and environmental manipulation. While vipers master the precision of venom, she masters the choreography of water. In blackwater rivers where tannins darken the world into deep amber, light fades quickly, vision becomes limited, but for the Anaconda, this is not a disadvantage. Her tongue carries chemical information across distances that light cannot reach. Each flick gathers molecules from the surface, from the air pockets between leaves, from the microcurrents that weave through the flooded undergrowth. She creates a chemical map in her mind, reading it with clarity that rivals sight. Her body moves accordingly, not blindly, but with purpose, as though following lines drawn through the water by the prey itself. The Amazon becomes a series of signals, a disturbance in the surface tension, a pressure gradient shifting along a submerged branch, a faint vibration carried along a patch of mud. The Anaconda interprets all of these with the accuracy of an expert navigator. Her neural system is adapted to integrate these stimuli into one cohesive field. In her world, visibility is optional, presence is perception, and perception is dominance. When she hunts, she does not rely on speed in the traditional sense. She manipulates opportunity. She positions herself along paths frequented by capybaras, agoutis, or birds that come to drink. She aligns her body with current direction to minimize detection. Prey approaching her location has no idea that the water around them hides a biological engine prepared to strike with gravitational certainty. Her attack is a vortex of muscle, density, and torque. She lunges upward, breaking the surface with a force amplified by her own buoyancy. Once she catches her target, she uses the water to her advantage. The medium absorbs the prey's energy, but not hers. She coils quickly, using both the resistance of the water and the leverage of her own weight to bring the prey into a controlled spiral. Constriction begins not as an act of crushing, but as an act of measuring. Her muscles sense the exact moment the prey exhales. That moment becomes an anchor. With each exhalation, she tightens further, preventing re-expansion of the chest cavity. Slowly, inexorably, the prey cannot breathe. Blood flow collapses, consciousness fades. This process is silent, efficient, and thermodynamically perfect. It wastes nothing, Her physiology evolved to support such strategies. Her heart pumps oxygen-rich blood through powerful arteries even under immense pressure. Her bronchial system allows her to remain submerged for extended periods. Her digestive system is capable of transforming a massive meal into usable energy with extraordinary efficiency. Proteins break down with chemical speed enhanced by tropical temperatures. Her metabolism slows following a large meal, allowing digestion to progress without unnecessary energy loss. For days, she may remain still, hidden among roots or floating logs, her body absorbing the forest warmth as she processes her meal. She becomes part of the landscape, nearly indistinguishable from the textures around her. Even her reproductive strategies reflect her mastery of the environment. During mating season, multiple males gather around a single female, forming what biologists call a breeding ball. They compete not with aggression, but with endurance. The female chooses not the strongest or the fastest, but the male capable of sustaining effort the longest, a test of biological resilience. Once pregnant, she shifts her habitat preference toward areas offering better thermoregulation. She positions herself where sunlight breaks the canopy more frequently or where shallow waters hold warmth. Her young are born fully developed, miniature versions of the queen, already capable of swimming, hunting, and surviving. Her lineage continues not through chance, but through the deliberate biological investment encoded in her body. In the Amazon, where water dictates the rhythm of life, the anaconda reigns as the ultimate expression of adaptation. Her power is not loud. It does not announce itself. It moves with the same inevitability as rising water and falling rain. She does not oppose the environment. She embodies it. And in doing so, she becomes more than a predator. She becomes the pulse of the flooded forest itself, a living symbol of how evolution sculpts rulers in the quiet language of survival and precision. In the Amazon's hidden architecture, the true power of serpents is not found only in venom or muscle, but in their senses. These senses form the invisible crown that allows them to rule a world where most predators rely on sight and sound, but sight is fractured by dense foliage and sound is drowned beneath rainfall and dripping leaves. Serpents do not struggle against these limitations. They thrive within them, wielding perception systems that turn the forest challenges into opportunity. Vision in snakes is more complex than it appears. Many species are not dependent on sharp imagery, but on interpreting movement, contrast, and shadow. This becomes a superior advantage in an environment where leaves sway unpredictably and light breaks into shifting fragments. A serpent on the forest floor, or coiled among vines, sees the world not as a static image, but as a dynamic field of motion. Every flicker of light becomes information. Every disturbance in the patterns created by wind and branches becomes a potential signal of prey. Their eyes are tuned to detect motion at the edges of darkness, making them specialists in navigating a realm that confuses many predators. In arboreal vipers, vertical adaptation sharpens this sense further. They can remain absolutely motionless for hours, their vision attuned to the smallest shift in silhouette against filtered light. In a canopy where survival depends on interpreting subtle cues, this capacity becomes a weapon as precise as their fangs. Yet vision alone cannot command the Amazon. The forest hides more than it reveals. So serpents evolved a second sense that reads a layer of reality invisible to most animals: infrared detection. The heat-sensing pits of many vipers allow them to construct a thermal map of their surroundings. In total darkness, they can detect the warmth of a rodent or bird, not just as a vague glow, but as a shape, an outline moving through the underbrush. This sense becomes even sharper in humid regions where temperature differences remain stable. At night, when the forest cools slightly, warm-blooded animals stand out against a darkened thermal background. A viper coiled near a root network or suspended on a branch perceives not darkness, but a landscape alive with heat signatures. Their strike becomes informed not by sight, but by physics. They calculate angles and distances with the precision of a built-in thermal compass. Even humans entering the forest at night become immediately detectable, long before they realize anything is watching them. But the serpent's sensory empire extends further. They can detect vibrations through their jaws, reading the forest floor like a living drum. Each step taken by an animal sends pressure waves through soil, mud, or water. These vibrations travel differently depending on substrate, softer through mud, sharper through dry soil, slower through shallow water. Snakes interpret these variations with extraordinary accuracy. A rodent's nervous footsteps differ dramatically from the steady stride of a capybara or the incautious movement of a predator. Even the faint vibrations produced by insects become part of the serpent's sensory tapestry. Their skull acts like a resonant chamber, transferring ground-borne signals directly to the inner ear. This is not hearing in the conventional sense, but a form of spatial awareness that reveals direction, distance, size, and urgency. When combined with their chemical senses, serpents achieve a level of environmental understanding matched by few species on Earth. The tongue, forked at the tip, is an evolutionary masterpiece. Each flick collects chemical particles from the air and ground, delivering them to the Jacobson's organ, which analyzes them with intricate pattern recognition. This allows snakes to track prey across terrain, distinguish between species, identify reproductive status, and even detect stress hormones. In the Amazon's humidity, scent molecules remain suspended longer, enhancing this ability. A snake moving silently through the jungle carries with it a continuous stream of information about what passed through the area minutes or hours before. This turns every serpent into a biological archivist, decoding the chemical history of its surroundings with every breath. Their respiratory system also reflects the demands of their kingdom. Snakes can regulate oxygen use with remarkable efficiency, remaining motionless for long periods without compromising metabolic function. In the flooded forest or during ambushes, this allows them to conserve energy while waiting for the precise moment to strike. Combined with their slow, deliberate heartbeat, this respiratory restraint allows them to maintain control over their sensory input without alerting prey. Their entire neurological design exists to refine perception rather than waste energy on unnecessary movement. Here, the Amazon shapes not only their bodies but their awareness. The forest whispers to those who can hear its signals. Snakes listen, they interpret. They react only when the environment reveals the perfect opening. These senses form the invisible framework of the serpent kingdom. They are the tools through which serpents become rulers in a world where sight is limited, sound is deceptive, and movement is dangerous. And in mastering these senses, they master the ancient forest itself. To understand the supremacy of serpents in the Amazon, one must examine how their senses unite into a single coherent system capable of navigating an ecosystem that challenges nearly every other predator. Each sensory input becomes part of a greater calculation. Vision gathers light and shadow. Thermal pits create an outline of heat. Vibrational detection maps movement through earth and water. Chemical analysis reveals identity, distance, and direction. Combined, these senses produce a three-dimensional awareness that transcends the limitations of any single sense. This is why serpents succeed in regions where mammals struggle. The Amazon is filled with visual illusions. Shadows overlap, producing false edges. Wind bends foliage in unpredictable patterns. Rain blurs sound cues. Mammals relying on sharp sight or acute hearing often misinterpret the forest's chaos. Snakes do not. They perceive deeper structures hidden beneath this noise. A serpent coiled on a branch understands that a prey animal's warmth remains consistent even when the wind shifts the foliage. A vibration through the soil tells it whether an approach is hurried or cautious. A scent trace reveals emotional state. All of this information is processed without conscious thought, guided by neural circuits shaped by evolutionary necessity. These circuits are astonishingly efficient. Snakes do not need large brains because their sensory pathways are streamlined for specific tasks. What seems like instinct is actually the result of millions of years of fine-tuning. The brain does not waste effort constructing unnecessary images or auditory models. Instead, it filters the environment for relevant signals, conserving energy and allowing near-instant responses when an opportunity emerges. This energy efficiency is fundamental to their dominance. In the Amazon, where food availability fluctuates dramatically, species that waste energy struggle to survive. Serpents thrive because they devote metabolic resources only to what matters: sensing, waiting, striking, eating, and digesting. Their entire biology rejects the wastefulness common in larger predators. The Amazon, in turn, rewards this efficiency. During the dry season, when prey becomes scarce and water recedes into isolated pools, snakes rely heavily on their sensory skills to locate moving targets. Some species detect subtle humidity differences that signal water sources or prey movement. Others sense the faint thermal glow of roosting birds. Still others use chemical gradients to follow trails left behind hours earlier. When the rainy season floods the forest, these senses must adapt to a landscape transformed into an aquatic labyrinth. Vibrations travel differently in water, becoming diffuse and harder to interpret. Snakes compensate by shifting reliance toward their eyes and thermal pits, using light reflections and heat signals that cut through the visual confusion of the flooded world. Their senses are not static. They reconfigure according to environmental demands. This dynamic adaptability is what allows serpents to remain consistent rulers across multiple ecological states. Even their cognitive strategies change. In water, they move slower but read currents with heightened attention. On dry land, they depend more on vibration and scent. In the canopy, vision and thermal detection dominate. Each sense plays its part in a symphony of survival. These senses also allow serpents to avoid danger with remarkable success. Large predators like jaguars and harpy eagles are formidable hunters, yet snakes seldom fall victim to them. Their ability to detect approach from multiple modalities gives them escape time. Their camouflage conceals them from visual predators. Their silence protects them from auditory detection. The forest is a labyrinth of signals. Most creatures hear only fragments. Snakes hear the entire symphony. The Amazon's serpent kingdom did not emerge through simple adaptation. It rose through a cascade of evolutionary curiosities, each one carving new functions, new appearances, and new strategies into the bodies of the snakes that rule these forests. Every scale, every pigment, every fragment of venom chemistry carries the memory of ancient events that forced serpents to evolve in unusual and often spectacular ways. One of the most defining forces in this evolutionary story is light. In the Amazon, sunlight rarely reaches the forest floor as a clean beam. Instead, it breaks into scattered fragments shaped by leaves, vines, and branches. This fractured illumination rewrote the rules of camouflage. Snakes developed patterns that mimic the chaos of the forest. Their scales create illusions of shadow, leaf veins, and bark fissures. This mimicry is so precise that even trained researchers overlook snakes mere centimeters away. This phenomenon is not just camouflage, it is a survival algorithm encoded in pigment. Meanwhile, The canopy created an entirely different evolutionary pressure. In the world of branches and swaying light, green became the dominant color, not because snakes needed to blend in, but because the canopy's filtered luminescence makes green the most stable chromatic anchor. The emerald body of Bothrops bilineatus is not simply color adaptation. It is a response to how the canopy manipulates light. Its body becomes a living shard of foliage, reflecting wavelengths that deceive predators and prey alike. The river systems contributed further evolutionary curiosities. In areas where seasonal flooding transforms dry ground into underwater labyrinths, snakes had to develop tolerance for long periods of low oxygen, high humidity, and shifting pressure. This forced metabolic conservatism. Species living near floodplains developed the ability to reduce their metabolic rate during wet seasons, allowing them to endure long stretches without hunting. Others became more tolerant of stagnant water, where oxygen concentrations drop dramatically. Their bodies handle hypoxic conditions more efficiently than those of most vertebrates. This ability becomes essential in hidden pools and underwater root systems where prey is scarce. The Amazon's staggering biodiversity also shaped behavior. In a forest where countless predators and prey coexist, serpents needed to refine decision-making that balances energy cost, risk, and reward. They evolved instinctual algorithms governing when to strike, when to wait, when to flee, and when to conserve energy. These instincts are the product of deep evolutionary negotiation. Each decision made by a serpent reflects thousands of generations of selective pressure. Their apparent patience is not calmness, it is strategy. Even their reproductive strategies reveal strange evolutionary adaptations. Many species produce offspring that are immediately capable of independent survival. This is not due to parental indifference, but because the forest's density and predator load make parental care nearly impossible. Offspring must emerge ready to hunt, hide, and survive within minutes. Their venom glands are functional at birth. Their senses are already tuned to the forest signals. Evolution did not grant them the luxury of learning through error. One mistake in the Amazon can be fatal. Some species develop specialized scale textures that help channel water, reduce friction, or enhance grip on smooth surfaces. These microtextures reflect evolutionary solutions to environmental puzzles such as wet bark, unstable leaf litter, or submerged roots. Scale ridges, micropores, and matte surfaces each help snakes interact with their surroundings more effectively. These textures are often invisible to the eye but detectable through close examination. They are evolutionary signatures left by the forest demanding architecture. Even venom composition reflects evolutionary curiosity. Amazonian snakes did not develop venom solely for predation. Their toxins also serve as digestive accelerators. The forest's humidity accelerates decomposition, but digestion must outpace microbial growth to avoid infection. Venom that begins breaking down tissues even before swallowing gives snakes a survival edge. Some components prevent bacterial proliferation or neutralize compounds produced by decaying tissue. Venom becomes more than a weapon, it becomes a microbial shield. Each curiosity tells a story of ancient struggles, environmental pressures, and biological innovations. Together they form the evolutionary foundation of the Amazon's serpent kingdom. They are the hidden mechanisms through which the forest sculpted rulers capable of thriving in a world that changes with every rainfall, every leaf fall, every shift of river water. In understanding these curiosities, we understand the deep logic that shaped this kingdom of silent predators. The Amazon's evolutionary landscape is defined by fragmentation. Every river, ridge, or flooded basin becomes a boundary that isolates serpent populations just long enough to ignite divergence. Over millennia, these isolated pockets transform into biological experiments where new morphologies, behaviors, or sensory enhancements may emerge. This process explains why the Amazon holds such extraordinary serpent diversity. Each region operates like a separate evolutionary workshop refining traits that respond to hyperlocal pressures. In the western Amazon, where rainfall remains intense year-round, Serpents develop coloration optimized for deep shadow and moss-rich environments. In the central basin, where sunlight pierces through occasional gaps in the canopy, serpents evolve patterns that mimic leaf scatter. Toward the eastern fringes, where forest transitions into savanna mosaics, snakes balance camouflage for both closed and open environments. The forest does not ask for uniformity, it rewards variation. Microclimates contribute further to this evolutionary mosaic. A hillside just tens of meters above flood level may remain drier during rainy seasons, creating a world where leaf litter becomes thicker and prey species differ. Snakes living here respond with modified hunting strategies. They may develop keener vibration sensitivity to detect prey beneath dry substrates or grow scales that reduce noise when moving. A valley below, where groundwater collects, hosts species that adapt to wetter soil and higher humidity. Their scales resist fungal growth, their senses tuned to the acoustics of wetter environments. Their venom blends adjust to prey that behaves differently in soggy terrain. Evolution moves like water shaping, splitting, joining, redirecting, and serpents flow with it. Dietary specialization becomes another engine of evolutionary curiosity. Some species focus on amphibians, developing venom optimized for disrupting muscular function in water-loving prey. Others prefer rodents, pushing venom compositions toward rapid circulatory disruption. Certain arboreal vipers adapt to bird predation, requiring venom that immobilizes rapidly to prevent prey from falling out of reach. Each diet aligns with a specific evolutionary trajectory, influencing fang length, strike speed, and toxin chemistry. Distinct color morphs often arise based on variations in local predators. In regions dominated by birds of prey, arboreal snakes favor deeper greens or more consistent patterning. Where mammalian predators are more common, thickness of pattern contrast increases, disrupting body shape when observed from ground level. These patterns are not superficial decoration, but survival mathematics. Even body proportions change according to habitat structure. Snakes living in dense, tangled undergrowth become shorter and more robust, able to push through obstructions. Canopy species become elongated and slender, enhancing maneuverability among branches. Aquatic serpents adopt thicker bodies built for buoyancy, their musculature optimized for powerful lateral movement through water. Beyond morphology, metabolism itself evolves. Some snakes develop ultra-efficient energy systems, allowing them to endure long periods without food. This becomes essential during seasonal fluctuations. A serpent that wastes energy will not survive a famine. Those that conserve power rise to dominance. These metabolic adjustments extend to digestion. When food is abundant, metabolic rate increases, allowing rapid processing of prey. When scarce, it slows dramatically, conserving every calorie. This metabolic plasticity is one of the Amazon's greatest evolutionary gifts, giving snakes the flexibility to thrive in a world that rarely offers stability. Sensory evolution also branches into unexpected paths. Species living in riparian zones enhance their ability to detect pressure waves in water. Those in sandy floodplains develop heightened sensitivity to substrate vibration. Canopy vipers refine binocular focus to judge distances in three-dimensional space. In each case, the forest structure dictates which senses become dominant and how they evolve over generations. Even reproductive timing shows evolutionary ingenuity. In areas where flooding is predictable, snakes synchronize reproduction to ensure offspring are born during periods of prey abundance. In regions with unpredictable rainfall, gestation periods become more flexible. Females may delay fertilization or adjust behavior to maximize thermoregulation. These timed births are evolutionary strategies ensuring juvenile survival. Over millions of years, these curiosities layered themselves into the serpent genome. They formed a complex tapestry of survival strategies that transformed snakes into some of the Amazon's most successful rulers. Their diversity is not an accident. It is the forest's signature and ongoing testament to how life reshapes itself when confronted with endless complexity. Each species stands as a chapter in this evolutionary saga, a distinct answer to the challenges posed by a world constantly rewriting its own rules. To witness these adaptations is to understand why the Amazon remains one of the greatest evolutionary engines on Earth. Some of the most striking evolutionary curiosities in the Amazon arise not from environmental pressure alone, but from interspecies relationships. Predators and prey shape one another across millennia in a cycle of escalation. As rodents develop faster reflexes, snakes refine strike mechanics. As amphibians evolve chemical defenses, venom compositions adjust to counteract them. This biological chess match drives innovation on both sides. The serpent's fangs, for example, exhibit a remarkable array of evolutionary variants. In arboreal vipers, fangs grow slightly longer and more forward-facing, optimizing strikes delivered from unstable positions. Ground vipers develop fangs capable of penetrating tougher hide or thicker fur. Some species adapt fang rotation angles to ensure venom delivery even during partial misalignment. This dental precision is not random. It is a direct evolutionary response to prey morphology. Meanwhile, body temperature regulation becomes an evolutionary battlefield. Contrary to mammals, snakes rely on external heat sources to maintain optimal metabolic performance. In the Amazon, where cloud cover and humidity fluctuate, snakes evolve strategies to exploit microthermal niches. A patch of sunlight piercing the canopy may serve as a metabolic recharge point. A decomposing log may generate enough warmth to accelerate digestion. Some species even alter body orientation to maximize solar absorption. Behavioral evolution also contributes to the serpent kingdom's stability. Many snakes develop specific movement patterns that reduce detection. Arboreal vipers minimize lateral undulation to avoid disturbing leaves. Ground vipers move slowly across dry litter to avoid acoustic signatures. Aquatic species synchronize movement with water currents so that ripples do not betray their presence. Each behavior is a solution to the problem of remaining invisible in a world where being seen can mean death. Evolution plays another card through toxin diversity. Some Amazonian snakes evolve venom components that disrupt blood clotting in extremely specific ways. Others produce toxins that target neuromuscular junctions with pinpoint accuracy. In rare cases, venoms develop unique enzymes that accelerate tissue breakdown to enhance feeding efficiency. This biochemical creativity is one of the most fascinating curiosities of the serpent kingdom, revealing how evolution manipulates cellular pathways to create molecular tools of unparalleled sophistication. Even immune systems evolve in unexpected directions. Snakes living near floodplains develop stronger antimicrobial defenses due to increased exposure to bacteria in wet environments. Arboreal snakes face different microbial threats and evolve immune responses tailored to canopy life. These immune adaptations shape lifespan, reproductive output, and vulnerability to disease, further contributing to ecological success. The forest itself becomes a collaborator in this evolutionary dance. Fallen logs, termite mounds, and root tangles create microhabitats where snakes refine specific traits. Seasonal variation forces snakes to adapt to different resource levels, refining behaviors such as hunting frequency, movement range, and territory selection. Over thousands of generations, these pressures accumulate into evolutionary signatures that define entire species. Some snakes develop an extraordinary ability to remain motionless for extended periods. This is not mere patience, it is metabolic sculpture. Their hearts slow, their muscles relax, their sensory systems remain alert while the rest of the body enters a state of controlled minimalism. This ability allows them to survive long stretches without food and to ambush prey with maximum efficiency. Meanwhile, certain species evolve defensive displays that confuse predators. Sudden flattening of the body, rapid vibrations of the tail, or expansion of the neck serve as visual warnings. These displays mimic those of more dangerous species or create the illusion of greater size. Evolution crafts these behaviors as deterrence mechanisms, reducing fatal encounters. Among the most profound curiosities is the ability of some serpents to adapt to human-altered environments. Though the Amazon faces deforestation, certain species adjust hunting patterns, sense usage, and territory size to survive in disturbed areas. This adaptability underscores the resilience encoded in serpent biology. They survive because evolution has trained them to solve problems relentlessly. These curiosities form the unseen architecture of the serpent kingdom. They reveal how deeply the Amazon has sculpted its rulers. Each adaptation, whether morphological, behavioral, or biochemical, stands as a testament to nature's inventiveness. Together, they show that evolution is not random. It is a dialogue between organism and environment, a negotiation that yields extraordinary results when the world is as complex as the Amazon. To witness the serpent kingdom is to witness evolution made visible. It is to observe the forest writing its history not in stone or soil, but in the bodies of the creatures that inhabit it. And among these creatures, serpents stand at the pinnacle of evolutionary artistry, living embodiments of the forest's power to create, refine, and perfect life across unimaginable timescales. The Amazon is not merely a forest, it is a living kingdom shaped by water, shadow, and ancient time. Its serpents do not rule through fear, but through the precision of evolution, each venom a chapter, each scale a memory of the world that formed them. In their silence, they protect balance. In their patience, they reveal the hidden laws of life. To witness this kingdom is to understand that nature governs with elegance, not brutality. And in the places where light fades and roots breathe, the serpents remain sovereign, guardians of the oldest realm on earth. Continue exploring with us as we uncover the hidden worlds where these rulers still reign.